Hi there everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Clarissa. I put out new pick a card readings, new tarot collective readings once a week. So I want to give a couple of disclaimers before we get into it. My neighbors were like bumping earlier, so the sound and like the music has died down for the most part. If it gets to be like really loud in the background again, I will pause the video and like come back or restart or do whatever needs to be done. Hopefully we're able to get through without any issues, but also, as you know, I have, or if you don't, if you haven't been watching the last couple of weeks, I do have an extra animal staying with me as well, and my dog and him just like feed off of each other's energy. So there may be barking or whining or whatever in the background. If that's the case, then I will do my best to like pause the video and not allow it to affect the sound. But while it's relatively quiet now, let's go ahead and get into it. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to title this week's video yet, but essentially what I want to look at is like your hidden talents and or gifts that you have, and these may be things that you're already aware about yourself, but I feel like what I'm really trying to get at here is like the hidden gifts and talents that you keep like hidden purposefully, that you keep below the surface, things that you don't necessarily share with everybody else. And you know, for some of you, this may be like you finding out that you have these gifts or talents through this reading. Maybe it's something that had never really crossed your mind, so it'll be something for you to like look into further or like explore further, whatever. But that is the goal with this week's reading. So we have 3 different groups that you'll be able to select from. So first, for group number 1, we have this piece of carnelian, which let me make sure it focuses because lately it hasn't been wanting to. So you have this piece of carnelian for you guys, for my group number 1s. And then for my group number 2s, we have this piece of peach agate. There we go. Maybe. It's like it only wants to focus briefly, and I just want to make sure you can actually see it. Still blurry. Hello. There we go. I'm sorry guys, I don't know why my camera likes to be difficult like this. Usually does a really good job focusing, but of course when I'm recording it doesn't want to. Okay, so there is your stone. This is peach agate for you guys, and then again that's for group number 2. And then for my group number 3s, we have this piece of citrine. Hello. I swear. Hi, can you focus? It like wants to focus on the candle sometimes too, which is also really obnoxious. Okay, I hope you guys can see that okay. I really don't know how else to get her to focus well here. There we go, that's good. So you can really see like the depth of the stone, because it's a really pretty stone. Sometimes the camera doesn't do it justice. There we go. Okay, so again, piece of citrine for group number 3. So I don't think it would be wrong for you to pick more than one group for this week's reading, because obviously you're a multifaceted being, so you probably have many different gifts and talents. If you feel drawn to listen to all 3, do that. If just listening to 2 or 1, that's fine as well. But at this time, it'd be best, if you don't already know which pile you're the most drawn to go ahead and pause the video, and then take a second to see like which pile you're being the most drawn to, like when it comes to the actual pile itself or the crystal on it, stone, crystal, whatever. So anyway, you may want to take a second, pause the video, see which one you're the most drawn to, and then once you've done that, you can go to the description box down below, and there are timestamps for each individual group's reading this week. So I'm actually really excited about this one. I feel like it should be fun, and it's kind of just another way for me to hype you up and make you feel good and, you know, see those parts of yourself that maybe you don't give enough recognition to, or for you to like see value in those things, because again, maybe you don't. So anyway, love you guys so much. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you shortly in your reading. Hello there, my group number ones. As a reminder, if you chose the carnelian, then this is your reading this week in regard to your special like gifts, talents, especially those that you may not know about or the things that you keep hidden from others. So we're going to go ahead and get into it, you guys. I do have 2 other oracle decks as well that we'll shuffle through to get any additional messages from spirit once we're done here with your tarot and like these oracle cards that were a part of your selection process. So they were like signifiers for the pile, if you remember. So you guys received the Bardo, the Shapeshifter, Duality, the Moon, the Devil, the 5 of Pentacles, and the 2 of Cups. So we're going to go ahead and get into it. And, you know, again, as a disclaimer, if the noise gets really bad in the background to where like I feel like I'm being drowned out, I will pause the video and come back and record at a later time if needed, because I do want you to be able to hear and not be super distracted by a bunch of background noise. So let's go ahead, you guys, and get into it here. I just want to start off by saying that I feel like there's a lot here. I really did have to type your guys's up to keep myself like organized and like get all of my thoughts out when I was looking at these cards. And I hope that it's somewhat organized, but there was just like so much coming in that I felt like a little overwhelmed. So I hope that I'm doing justice to spirit and what spirit wanted to express. So like I said, I feel like there's a lot to be said here for you guys, my group number ones. First off, I feel like one of your greatest talents is being able to see the big picture, especially with duality and the shapeshifter coming up here. I feel like you see how everyone's lives bleed into each other and how we're all connected and how everybody and everything matters. I really started hearing, like when I was laying out your cards, Can You Paint with All the Colors of the Wind from Pocahontas. So you might want to give that song a listen if you haven't in a while, because it really is like a beautiful song. It's like one of my favorite Disney songs. Not to say Pocahontas is my favorite movie, because I know about what happened in real life to Pocahontas, but I really love that song, and I think that it does a lot of justice to how much we all are connected and how we take for granted this circle, like this hoop that we all are connected by, and how even, you know, one thing that always like strikes me and that I think is like just funny and incredible and like coincidental, quote unquote, about the world is how it's like there are 6 degrees of separation between us and somebody else, and how small the world really is. Like I was thinking this the other day when I was like on social media, and there's a girl that I worked with that I only knew through work that got married, and like she was posting pictures, and one of the groomsmen in her wedding was a guy that I went to high school with. Like it was just bizarre. Like, and we met in a completely different city. We both like were from the same state and grew up in the same state, but it's just like crazy because there's how many people in the world? Like, what are the chances of that really, you know? So it's just those kind of things. But I think that you guys really are able to see that, and you see the big picture, and you see how much everything and everyone really matters. And I feel like you do that better than a lot of other people do. That really is a gift in and of itself, my group number ones, because a lot of people struggle to see that and struggle to understand how, you know, what we're doing to the planet and like what we're doing to the other species of animals around us, how that's ultimately going to affect us and how it already has. There's nothing that we do that doesn't have a ripple effect that comes back to us, right? So I think that you guys are really good at seeing that. I feel like one of your greatest gifts is how aware you are of everything. Like I said, yourself, others, animals, the planet. You know that everyone is complex and deep and multifaceted, and that everyone and everything has this level of duality to it. I feel like this is even further expressed in the moon and the devil coming out here too. I also think that you guys have so many interests and so many layers to you that it's easy for you to find common ground with anyone. I feel like you were the kid in high school that had multiple different friend groups and you were loved by many because you can easily morph and change shape, much like the shapeshifter card here. You are also very interested in other people, their lives, and like the complexities of it all. I feel like you're the person that really likes to sit and listen to other people and like ask other people's opinions and see how other people's like minds work, how where their point of view comes from. And I feel like you really do ask just out of curiosity and you really want to get to know people on a deeper level. So I feel like you ask these very like deep, complex questions. And I feel like even though I'll get to it here in a minute, I feel like maybe people don't know you as well as they think they do. I feel like you know a lot of people very well because you like do all that you can to like make those connections and those bonds because you're really good at asking these deep, complex questions that get people thinking. And I don't know, I feel like when we have these moments where we have these deep introspection or like this period where we're asking or like answering these deep questions, it's like when you do that, you like form a deeper connection and bond with somebody because you get to know someone on a deeper level, as opposed to just the superficial and like what everybody else sees. I feel like you guys could be therapists or writers or just really good at making observations. I feel like you have no issue looking at other people and imagining how complex and rich their lives are, just as yours is. And there's like a term for that, but I can't remember what it is, but it's literally like, you know, when you are just even out grocery shopping or doing your day-to-day mundane things, you run into people and you're able to sit there and be like, wow, you know, I wonder what their life is like. I wonder what they do on a daily basis. And you may even like dream up and fantasize and like, you know, create stories for certain people that maybe you see more regularly, but that you really don't know. And you like drum up these like fantasies of what their lives may be like. And it's just like an ode to how you're, again, able to see the bigger picture and really like to delve into the complexities of other people's lives and their existence. I think another gift you possess is charm. I feel like you guys could talk anyone into doing anything with how charismatic and charming you are. I don't feel like you use that power for bad or for evil, but you definitely could. And you may even have done that in the past because you wanted to acquire someone or something. I also think you are very resilient and self-sufficient, but with the Five of Pentacles coming out here, I think Spirit is wanting me to remind you that sometimes the strongest thing we can do is ask for help. So just keep that in mind. It is okay to be vulnerable and open with others sometimes. It's okay to ask for help, especially with the Moon card coming out here too. I think even though you are so skilled at making connections with others and getting others to open up to you with your charm and like these people skills that you have with connecting, you aren't the best at being vulnerable and open with others. And this is kind of what I was saying when I was mentioning that I feel like you guys, like people think of you as like they're one of their best friends, but you may not think of them the same way because you get people to open up to you so easily and you get people to delve into the complexities of their life with you, but you're still very sometimes like off-put or keep people at an arm's length sometimes. And that's not to say you're that way with everyone, but again, I feel like you have all of these friends and you know all of these people and you know them very well, but that doesn't mean they know you just as well. I think that you guys see yourself so much differently than others see you. And I feel like you have this deep-seated fear of people not accepting you if they saw the real, raw, like vulnerable you. But Spirit wants me to remind you how important it is to be open and to live freely, to not hold anything back. That's how you form the best connections with others. You don't always have to hold people at an arm's length. And finally, I think with the Bardo coming up here, some of you may have a hidden talent or gift of connecting with Spirit. You may be a channel and not even know it. I think you're constantly receiving messages or being that in-between person for Spirit to use to communicate with others. I think your words and the way you speak inspires others or makes them think about things in a new light. And while I'm not trying to discredit you or your ability to be this like fabulous communicator, because I think that is like a gift in and of itself as well that you guys have, is this ability to communicate, to, you know, draw people out of their shells, to get people to open up to you. And I'm not diminishing that. I think a lot of that is you and your own like personal gifts that you have. I think sometimes it's spirit speaking through you. I also think some of you may be able to see spirit, and maybe you have like been able to see different spirits from a young age and communicate with them. But I think you communicate in many different ways, even those like you're not aware of. So again, it may be very like like you're able to actually like see spirits. Maybe you have like always been able to see them, communicate with them, connect with them. And with others, like those of you that maybe don't have the gift of like seeing spirit, you're able to hear or get these like downloads of messages, or you're able to get this like gut instinct that something is wrong, and you feel it like so much more deeply like in your bones than other people do, right? There's so many different ways for us to connect. It doesn't just have to be that you see spirits and you talk with them, you know. That's like, I feel like the most typical way that it's portrayed, but that doesn't have to be how you connect with spirit, and that's okay. It may be, it may not, and that's all right. And that may not even apply to all of you, but I do feel like it was worth being said, because I get that feeling that maybe that's the case for some of you, and that's something that you really don't share with people, because maybe for a long time it really freaked you out. Maybe it even still does, and it's something that you try to forget and keep out of your mind. But overall, you guys, I feel like you have a lot of like different talents. I feel like you guys are so like just multidimensional and like just so fascinating. And I would love to be able to, you know, turn the tables on you and ask you like all of these deep, in-depth, personal questions that you ask other people, because I think you have a very fascinating mind. I think that that is one of your gifts as well, is just like how intricate and like deep and complex your mind is, and your ability to think, and again, your ability to see people as more than just these like side or background characters in your life, right? You see them as so much more than that. And I think that it's really beautiful, your ability to see people in that light and understand just how, you know, our own lives are so like important to us, and you understand that that's the same with anybody else, right? We're all human beings. We all have our fears, our insecurities, our doubts. And I think that you're really good at being able to understand that, and being able to make connections with people because of that. But yeah, I think that those are like kind of the biggest talents that I'm getting to come up here. And like, as a reminder, you know, these may be things you're already aware of, especially with like you being very charismatic. I feel like that may be something you already know, and that may be something that you like other people already know about you as well. And it may be something that, you know, again, you've used your whole life because you know, like, you're charismatic, you're charming. But there are some things here that I feel like you do keep below the surface, because again, like I said, I feel like there are a lot of people that consider you their best friend, but there's probably like only one person that you consider to be yours, because that person is like somebody that you'll actually open up with, and like you actually have a reciprocal relationship with, as opposed to these other people who you know very deeply, and you know all of their intricacies and complexities, but they don't know yours. So I'm going to take a drink of water here real quick, and then we'll get into the rest of your oracle cards here. Like I said, we have 2 other decks to look at. Okay. So let's see if we can get any more information about your hidden talents here from Spirit. shuffle once more and then I'll cut the deck here. Okay. All right, so we have for you Keepers of the Earth. I think that's so fitting for you guys. Oh my gosh, I literally just got chills. And then Mintakan, I'm not sure how to say that. Longing for Home, Belonging, the original Lightworkers. And then yeah, for the first one we have Keepers of the Earth, You Are Not Alone, Ancient Ancestors Stand Beside You. With this one coming out here, this to me really speaks to, again, your ability to see how everything is connected. Again, it's like when I got that when I was hearing Can You Paint with All the Colors of the Wind in my head, like I really feel like it's because, again, you see the importance of everyone, every creature, and you understand that whenever any like species of animal dies off, whenever they go extinct, it has a long-term consequence or effect on us, even if it's not immediate, even if it's not something we see right away. It's something that ends up affecting us in the long run, right? Because this creature that is now no longer here is also no longer a part of their ecosystem and like not playing their role anymore. So what's going to happen? Sometimes we'll see like an uptick in other, species, like for instance, with wolves and deer, for instance, if all of the wolves in the world went extinct, we would see an uptick in like the deer population, because there wouldn't be like this check and balance, right? There wouldn't be this other creature that's like, killing and eating the deer, and then they would just be able to continue to like populate, and then they would start to like take over more spaces, and we'd probably see more deer like within city limits, which we do sometimes where I live anyway, but we'd start to see them like more and more, and we'd see this like uptick of them in their population because there's nothing like helping to control that, right? And so I think that this is really speaking to, again, your ability to see the importance of everyone and everything. And especially with like the Bardo coming up as well, which talks about like the liminal space, the in-between. A lot of the time it can point to like us receiving this information, these downloads of the importance of everything, seeing like the importance of these relationships that we have with other people, with other creatures, and how, that serves us as humanity. So yeah, I just think that that is really speaking to that again for you. And then I think that this Mintakan card is really also speaking to, again, this, I feel like you guys, even though you have a lot of friends and a lot of people in your life, I feel like there is this level of loneliness for you. And I think because you guys, again, your brain and like your mind is so beautiful and complex, and there's so much depth there, that sometimes it's lonely for you because you're so self-aware and you're so aware of everything else and everyone else around you, that it's very isolating sometimes when you meet people that don't take any of that into consideration, that you're like, oh, they don't think the same way that I do. And that's not to say that you expect other people to, but it's even just like, for instance, let's say that you're somebody that really pays attention to politics, because politics does affect all of us. Like, I know that people like to say they don't want to play the political game, but at the end of the day, politics is important and it has a big effect on you, me, and everyone else, especially if you live in the US, right? But anywhere that is the case, whatever our governing bodies rule like to be, that is going to affect all of us. And you meet people, for instance, that are like, oh yeah, I don't watch TV, or oh yeah, I don't watch the news, or I'm not really political, I don't really know any of that stuff. And like, I don't think you guys judge them, but I think you sit there and think to yourself, must be really nice to like not care to pay attention to those things, for those things not to bother you, for those things not to take up space in your head rent free, right? And that's, again, not to say that you don't understand that there are other things they probably do think about that maybe you don't, but I think that you guys have such a vast knowledge and a vast understanding and like just a lot of compassion and empathy for other people and other creatures. And I think that you guys do take a lot of things into consideration and think a lot of things through. And then when you meet people that just live a lot more freely and don't allow certain things to take up space in their head, you're like, wow, what's that like? And it can be like very isolating and make you feel alone sometimes because sometimes you don't feel like other people understand that about you. And that may be the thing too. Maybe that's why you don't always open up to other people, because you do fear being misunderstood, or you fear other people judging you, not understanding you. And maybe that's why there are only certain people in your life that you really open up to and that you would actually consider to be like super close friends, because they actually know you and see you for who you are. And that's okay too, my group number ones. But as I had mentioned before, I think that Spirit wants you to know that it is okay to open up. It is okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to be you and show yourself to people. And if they choose not to accept you, that's okay too. They have that choice to not accept you and not love you for who you are. And maybe that is what Spirit's wanting you to really know, is that it's okay if there are people that don't love and see you and accept you for who you are, because when those people are gone, it makes space for people that really will and really do see those things. Let me close my laptop before it really starts pinging off here, because that's what I read my synopsis from. But let's go ahead, and that's like what I'm really feeling for you guys with those two cards. Let's go ahead and just look at this last deck here. So this is the Sacred Self-Care Oracle deck, and I really want to know for you guys, how can you utilize your talents to care for yourself? How can you use like self-care even to help you really like hone and better like use these gifts and talents that maybe you underutilize, or that you don't show to people as much? How can you like become more comfortable with showing these things? Because I really think that for you guys and for everyone, we don't have to monetize our talents. We don't have to make it so it's like our career or our livelihood. But I think we have these gifts and these talents for a reason. And I think that we do a disservice to ourselves and to others when we don't express them and we don't utilize them and we don't show them off, right? Because what it can do when we do those things is it can inspire other people to tap into those parts of themselves and those talents that they may have as well. So let's see here. So you guys have Make an Altar here. And then let's see if we can get one other card. Oh, that one came right out. Deep breathing. Okay, we'll put these here actually, make it a little balanced. Okay. So you guys got Make an Altar and Deep Breathing. So I think that deep breathing, especially because, again, I think you guys have such a complex, beautiful mind. And sometimes it's easy for us to get carried away in the fantasy and get carried away in our minds when we have such like a beautiful imagination and a beautiful mind. And sometimes I think you guys need to like center and bring yourselves back down to reality, and breathing can really help with that, especially if you ever start spiraling and your thoughts become anxious in nature. That would be really helpful for you to take some deep breaths and recenter yourself, and know that there's only so much we can control in life too, right? There's only so much that we have the power to do. But it really does help when we can bring ourselves back down to center and take some deep breaths and not allow our mind to take control of us, right? So I think that that's something that's important for you. And then also, as I had mentioned, I feel like you guys do maybe have this anxiety that if you really showed people who you are, that they may not accept you, and they may not like what they see and not like what they're shown, right? And I think that deep breathing can like allow us to tap into ourselves and that voice and that power that we have to express ourselves and to be vulnerable and to like really show and express our emotions and like how something made us feel or how we feel about certain things, and to do it in a manner that isn't like overly hostile to where somebody isn't going to listen to us, right? Because sometimes I feel like when we're fueled by anger or overfueled by certain emotions, it's off-putting to certain people and they'll just shut off and not listen to us. So again, remembering to center, take some deep breaths, and do our best to like fully express ourselves, which I don't think you guys have a lot of problems with, because again, I think that one of your talents is like how great of a communicator you are. So yeah, utilizing that deep breathing to tap into that great communicator that we already are. And then with making an altar, I feel like this is actually talking too about us tapping back in with our ancestors. And, I wonder how much or how many of you that are listening may have like native roots, whether it be to like the indigenous populations here in the US or in other countries, because there's various indigenous groups in other countries that have been run out of their countries or have been forced to change practices because of colonization, because of all of those things. And it may be really helpful for you to connect with your ancestors and connect with maybe like their way of life and the way they were doing things before colonization came along and changed their religion, like their practices, and just like how they lived their lives day to day. So it may be helpful also to do some research into those things. But yeah, building an altar, building a space for them and connecting with them. But also, because I had mentioned that I feel like some of you are really like have that gift of being able to connect with spirit already. Building an altar can really help you with that and help utilize that talent and that gift and give you that space to tap into that better, right? Because for some of you, and truthfully for a good portion of you, I feel like you don't even know that you have this ability, because again, I don't feel like all of you can see spirit and communicate with spirit just based off of that. But again, I feel like you do have that gift. A lot of you do. And so by you making this space, it'll allow you that time to like cultivate that gift and like better hone that gift and understand when it's like, spirit may be trying to help you or give you information about something, or, help you see things from a different perspective, whatever it may be. But anyway, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and leave your reading here this week because I think I could go on forever. I really, really enjoyed this, and I hope that it resonated for you guys and that you're able to see yourself in like kind of a new light. And, ultimately my goal with these is to hype you up and to allow you to see yourself in a way that others may, in a way that spirit may, that you don't see yourself, and to see that, for you to see just how like beautiful and valuable and unique that you are. So if this resonated with you, please leave me a comment down below letting me know that it did. Give this video a thumbs up so that it can reach as many other people as possible that may need to hear this message. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe to my channel. I put out new pick a card readings or tarot collective readings once a week. I love you guys so much, and I really hope that you show some of these talents and gifts more to the people and the world around you, because I think that the world would be a better place if you did. So anyway, I love you. Thanks for joining me, and I hope to see you in a future reading. Bye. Hi there, my group number 2s. As a reminder, if you chose the peach agate, then this is your reading this week in regard to what your hidden or secret talents, gifts are. And as a reminder, like I said in the introduction, this is going to be about maybe some of the like talents or gifts that that you already have, but you don't really share with people. This can be about things you don't really realize about yourself. And it can also just be like another perspective, having someone else tell you that these things about you are a gift or a talent that you have, because maybe you don't perceive them that way. Maybe you don't look at like yourself that way either. So Anyway, we're going to go ahead and get into it. I do have 2 additional oracle decks that we'll get into as well once we go through these cards here. So for you guys, we have the 1, the Sword, Transition, the Queen of Swords, the Moon, the Magician, and the Star. And these 3 were a part of like your signifiers for the group, like at the beginning in the introduction, that would have helped you pick this group as well as your stone. And then we have your tarot cards also. So we'll get into that. And then, like I said, we will jump into some additional oracle cards. As a disclaimer, so like this is the next day that I'm filming, if you can't tell from when I filmed the introduction. You may notice like all of the lines and streaking like on the table from the sun. Personally, I love it because the sun has not been out here in like I feel like forever, and Colorado is actually pretty sunny, so it's really nice to get some sun coming through. Feels really good, feels like things are warming up. It's been so cold here, so sorry if that bothers you, but it's like really nice for me. And then like I had mentioned at the beginning, like in the introduction, I am still here with all of the animals today. My husband is gone today, so there may be like disruptions in the background that we have to pause for, but you know, I'll try to make sure that whatever's happening sound wise isn't drowning out the reading for you if I continue to go forward. So let's get into it with all of that said, you guys. First of all, I want to say my group 2s that I think these gifts and talents may be those you keep below the surface or that you don't even recognize within yourself, especially with the Moon card coming up here. I feel like some of this may be stuff that maybe, again, you kind of push down, that you don't pay much attention to, that maybe you don't recognize in yourself as being like gifts or talents of yours. So, you know, my job is really to just kind of help gas you up, kind of help you see that you are special. These are gifts and talents that you have, and they help make you unique, and they help make you who you are, and they're important for you to, you know, express and show and work on and develop, and for other people to see from you, because then it will inspire other people to show their gifts and talents, right? I want to preface this by saying as well, but in no like way or like shape or form or whatever do you need to monetize your gifts or talents, right? It's literally just not being afraid to show them off and like seeing them as such and utilizing them, because these are things, like I said, that make you unique. I also think you guys have this love for life that is unmatched by others. You see the beauty in life and truly see the ability to be alive as a gift, one that you will not waste being someone or doing something that doesn't satisfy you. And I really see that coming out here with the 1, because you really see life as this beautiful gift and opportunity that you have. I see you as somebody that leans more on the optimistic side because of this, because you do, you know, really cherish being able to have experiences as a human being and being alive. And I think that's really beautiful and really great, and really is a gift in and of itself, because so many of us get like lost in the day-to-day, right? And we forget that it really truly is a gift for us to be alive and for us to be able to have these experiences in this dimension, in this plane as human beings, right? I think one of your greatest gifts is your mind and your intuition connection. You may not even realize it, but you are able to see through the BS and make clear, precise decisions, even under pressure. In fact, you may do your best like making a decision when you're under pressure. I feel like this calmness comes over you, and it's like you know exactly what you need to do and where you need to go next. And you don't dwell on the past or the other decision that you could have made. You know that your decision was right. And I think you have this intuition for these things. And again, you may not even realize it, but I think this is what helps your mind be clear and allows you to make the quote unquote right decision for you. You have the sense of serenity that washes over you, and you make your cut without hesitation, much like the sword. So, you know, again, I really feel like in the moment, you just get this clarity, and it may be like a gut feeling. It may be like, maybe you have the ability to like, God, I don't even remember, clairaudience, is that what it's called? Where you get like auditory messages from spirit. So like you may hear things, maybe you get like a ringing in your ear, or maybe like something, just an idea like pops into your head, or you know, something maybe even in a different voice than your own is in your head. Like, it sounds weird the way that I'm explaining it, but I hope you guys know what I mean, because clairaudience doesn't just have to be that you like actually hear things in your ears. It can be you like hearing things, or like things coming up into your head out of nowhere. That's clairaudience as well, and I think people really don't realize that. But what I'm getting at is that I feel like there's something that just kind of comes over you, and this calmness, this serenity like washes over you when it comes to you thinking about one of two decisions, right? And you're like, that's the one that I'm going for. You make your cut, you make your decision, and it's just like really easy for you to do that. And I really do think it's like a mind, like intuition connection, where you're thinking these things out, or you're thinking about like your two different options at least, and then you're able to make like that clear, precise decision from doing that. And I think that's like such a wonderful gift, because as somebody that is like, has like Libra placements that goes back and forth for an eternity about things, I really love seeing people that just like make that decision and don't regret it, and are just like, hey, you know, this is the decision I made, and I know that this is what's best for me. And that's probably why you don't regret it, because you get that sense of calmness when you're thinking about this decision, and you're like, no, I definitely made the right decision for me. So I think that that's something that you guys don't even really like notice. It just kind of happens for you. I also think that you're amazing at setting boundaries with others. This is also a talent of yours. You don't allow people to bulldoze you or walk all over you. You speak your mind, even if your voice shakes from fear or doubt or worry, or because the thing you are speaking about makes you emotional. You, use your voice and speak your mind. For you, no is a full sentence, and you don't feel the need to explain yourself or all of the time, or defend why something is a boundary or an issue for you. And you are able to do this without being rude or harsh, unless it's needed, because some people do need you to be rude and harsh with them, right? Because they don't get it the first time. But it's very like matter-of-factly for you, and you're like, no, I'm not doing that. And people don't even feel the need to challenge you a lot of the time, or ask you follow-up questions, because for you it's like a definitive no. There's like no wishy-washiness in your voice that makes people like further question you. It's a firm, hard no. And you have no problem saying that. You have no problem defending yourself, sticking up for yourself, even doing it for other people. But you're gonna speak your mind. That's the thing about you. And you know, I think that there's this negative connotation with people that speak their mind, that they're rude, or that they're like blunt, or they're, you know, whatever. And I think that that can be the case for some people, but I don't think that's the case for you. You're just not going to tolerate people like saying stuff about you or someone else that isn't true, you know, misleading people. You really don't appreciate that kind of stuff. So you're going to speak your mind and give your 2 cents, and you don't do it in a way that demeans other people or that brings other people down. It just has to do with like you having this need to voice your opinion, and there's nothing wrong with that. You are very good at using your voice. You may have like a very prominent throat chakra, and I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with, is being able to stand up for themselves and use their voice when needed. But that's not a problem of yours. And again, I feel like you do it in such an eloquent way to where people are never offended. People never take it as like you being one way or another. Which, like, let me just clarify too and say that, like, who cares what they think? If they think you're being a bitch, or they think you're being like an asshole or whatever, that's their problem sometimes, right? That has more to do with them than with you when it comes to you like setting a boundary and saying no to somebody, right? So anyway, I think another talent of yours is your ability to create. I think that you often can create something out of nothing. Some of you may be very talented artists, and you're easily able to take an idea and transform it into something so well thought out and beautiful for yourself or for others. This makes me like think of my husband personally, and much like him, I see this as this may be something that very few people know or realize about you. I think you're very creative in some facet of your life. It could be actual art, or maybe you're a chef or something, and you're able to take like one idea, object, or ingredient and turn it into a masterpiece or like an amazing meal. I just really think that you're good at conceptualizing things and again, creating something out of like what seems to be nothing. Like, I feel like you're that person that could go, like, if you're a chef, for instance, you're the person that could go into the fridge and like find a stick of butter and be like, oh, perfect, there's all of these other things here already, let me whip up this like elegant 5-course meal, because you know, you're just really good at being able to see what's available to you, see what you already have, and like working with that to create something out of it, right? My husband, for instance, is someone that can take an idea that someone presents him and create something out of it, whether it be like an actual drawing, or my husband does like a lot of resin related art as well, and anything like that. He's really good at being able to just like take an idea and like fully turn it into this beautiful work of art, this beautiful masterpiece. And I feel like that's the case with you guys. You're really good at being able to do things like that. And maybe you don't even see it as creative, because maybe for you it's literally like you taking one small idea that somebody gave you and turning it into like this amazing project where, I don't know, you like harness the ability to like make something run on solar power. I don't know. You get what I'm saying though. Like, it's just your ability to create something from like a small idea, or you know, something that just kind of like comes across for you in your mind. And I think that's really cool, because it's not the case for all of us. Trust me, like some of us, like someone like me, I have a hard time being able to, like, I can picture really cool stuff in my mind. Can I like create that and like make that a reality out of like a drawing or whatever? No, usually not. So don't take that talent for granted. It's like a really beautiful thing to have and be able to do. And maybe like you currently utilize your ability to create art or create, I don't know, masterpiece meals or whatever it is for you. Let me take a drink of water here real quick, and then we'll get into the rest. Yeah. I think another talent of yours, and like one of your biggest gifts, is the ability to handle change well. I think you guys really thrive when it comes to change. I can see you as someone who changes their hairstyle or personal wardrobe every 6 months to a year, because you're constantly growing and reinventing yourself. And even when life hands you change that maybe you didn't want, like being fired from a job, for instance, you look at things so optimistically and see them more as a blessing and push for you in like a more like right, different direction for you. And you also love to see what you can create from this ending / new beginning that you have either created yourself, or that has been given to you or forced upon you. You know, if you're like laid off or fired from a job, transition and change don't bother you. You see them as necessities for being alive, and that's a good, and what's a good life, excuse me, and what's a good life without a little chaos and adventure? Even when things are rough, you know they'll turn around eventually. They always do. What goes up must come back down. And I really do think that this is one of your biggest like gifts, you guys, is your ability to be flexible, your ability to like just roll with the punches and be optimistic about it. Sorry, I had to burp there. Be like optimistic about like the potential outcomes for you. Like, and I'm not saying that you aren't allowed or that you don't feel down and out if something like losing a job, getting fired, getting laid off, like if that doesn't put you in a slump. Like, I think it's perfectly fine for those things to knock us down for a minute, but you guys always get back up, because you know that things will turn around for you. It's like this deep-seated knowing that I feel like you have, that things will turn around. You know, everything that goes up always has to come back down, and like, you know, you will see things go well for you again. They won't always be the way that they are, even if it's hard, even if it's rough. It's almost like for you, you see it as, this is opportunity for me to like really see what I'm made out of, though. This is opportunity for me to grow. And really trust myself and believe in myself, maybe in ways that I haven't before. And even if it's like not that you're looking at it that way while you're going through it, once it's all said and done, you look back and you're like, wow, that was really like something that needed to happen for me in order for me to accomplish this, or in order for me to be more comfortable with this, or whatever it may be. Like you look back on things and you're like, oh, that was something that was supposed to happen. It really sucked at the time, but it was something that was needed for me to like be able to grow and accomplish the things that I wanted to and get where I wanted to be. It was like the universe's way of pushing me so that I was able to accomplish those things that I wanted. So love all of this for you guys so far. We're gonna go ahead and get into the last 2 oracle decks here that I have to see if we can get any additional information about like what your talents, I kind of threw that one, so I'm not gonna count that. Like what your talents are, what your hidden gifts may be. Okay. Sorry, I like keep burping. I said I was going to take a drink of water, but I have a kombucha next to me, so that's probably why I'm burping so much. But we got to get in those probiotics. Any other information about group number 2's hidden gifts or talents? I'm going to do one more shuffle and then I'm just going to go ahead and cut. All right. You have align your life, what is not aligned or needs to change. And then we also have for you Imrama, where are you being called to journey to? Okay. So I'm going to be honest, you guys, I feel like both of these cards are really talking about, again, your ability to go with the flow, your ability to accept change and to not be afraid when things need to change so that you can be in better alignment with yourself and like the path that you need to go on for you to accomplish the things you're wanting and have the things that you desire. And I really do think that this also has to do with like your ability to make those split decisions, even when it comes to like being under pressure, right? I think that you, again, have this intuition that maybe you don't even realize is intuition, because again, it's like that calmness, that sense of serenity that comes over you when you're thinking about 2 different options and when you're thinking about the one that probably is the most correct for you, and you're able to make that decision. You don't have problems like slicing away these old facets of your life that no longer serve you, no longer work for you, are no longer in alignment with you, so that you're able to journey to where you're being called to, right? You're able to like go in the direction that you need to go in without worrying if you made the wrong decision, or thinking about what the alternative would have been, or thinking about like the other options that you had presented for you. Because again, like I had mentioned, you have this, I feel like this deep-seated knowing of this is what's right for me, and I know this is what's right for me, and I know this is what I need to do. And I think that it really does, like these cards speak to your ability to use that sword like we have here in this card, and like cut through to the best decision for yourself and cut away the things that aren't in alignment with you, the things that don't belong in your life anymore, or that you need to separate yourself from, and then doing so that you're able to make sure that you're on the right journey for yourself. So I think that that's really kind of what that's speaking to. Let me take another drink here. I'm very like parched today, and then we'll get into the last set of oracle cards here. Okay. And so this is the Sacred Self-Care Oracle deck. Really, I have a multitude of different things that could come out with this deck. Either messages from spirit in regard to how you can better like hone and like utilize these skills and gifts that you have, how you can share them with the world, how you can use them to like better take care of yourself, whatever it is. But yeah, just like a multitude of different options here in regard to like kind of what spirit wants to share. Okay, we need to learn how to shuffle again today. Oh my gosh. All right, we're about even there. Okay, let's try that again. It's embarrassing to happen on camera. Come on now. No, I'm literally not embarrassed at all. I've talked about this plenty of times. Like, I sometimes am able to shuffle really well. I can shuffle playing cards really well. When it comes to these different like tarot oracle decks, sometimes they're like really thick, or the cards are just really big for my little tiny baby hands. But yeah, I'm not ashamed of messing up these at all. Okay. All right, one more shuffle and then we'll go ahead and cut. Let's see here. Intuition. Oh my god, duh. And then we have flow like water. I think that these are very self-explanatory here. Continue to allow yourself to flow, to allow yourself to be taken and carried by life, because again, I think that something that you guys understand that a lot of people struggle with is we have very little control over our lives and like what actually unfolds and happens, right? Because there's so many different things that the other people around us and that other people that are in our lives can do or that can happen to them that can negatively or positively affect us, right? And while we have control over what we do for the most part on the day-to-day, we don't have as much control as I feel like we want to act like we do. And it's okay to just kind of let life carry you sometimes and see where you end up. And I think, again, it really does resonate here with the Imrama of you just allowing yourself to flow to where you need to be. It's interesting because we have this like large body of water here too. So to me, it's literally like allowing yourself to be carried on the path that is best for you. And I think that you guys do a really good job with that by using your intuition like we have talked about. And it may be helpful for you to continue to harness that skill of being able to utilize your intuition and trusting it more. And I think it's something that we could all probably work on, but maybe doing some practices that help you to better trust your intuition, because that can be a lot of the problem is that we don't trust it. And I think that you guys do a really good job already of trusting it subconsciously, but continuing to work on that and open that up. And, you know, maybe there will be these other things that come about for you, like you developing like these different clairs. So again, clairaudience, clairvoyance, clairsentience, there's like other ones too, but maybe by you doing that, it'll allow you to kind of open the gates to developing those as well, and then like being even more connected with yourself and with your guides if that's something that you're wanting to do. But there are a lot of things we can do to continually like test and harness our intuition, and it really just comes down to being able to listen to that voice or that feeling, trust it, and move in accordance with it, right? Which again, I think that you already do a fantastic job of, so keep that up and keep on working on that skill of your intuition, because it's like a muscle. The more that we use it, the better we become with it, and the easier it is for our logical brain to trust it when it comes about. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and leave your guys' reading here, probably at a good point because they're starting to turn up music and stuff downstairs. I hope that wasn't affecting the end here too much. If this resonated for you, please let me know in the comments down below. Give me a give this video a thumbs up so that this message can reach as many other people as possible that may need to hear it. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe to my channel. I put out new pick a card readings, tarot, collective readings once a week. I love you guys so much, and I really enjoyed this reading, and I hope that it allowed you to see just how many talents and gifts you really have and just how special and unique you are. And I hope that this encourages you to be more open with those gifts and share those with the people around you, because I think that that's why we have these gifts and talents, right? Is so that we can utilize them to make the world a better place. So anyway, I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you in some of my future readings. Thanks. Bye. Hi there, my group number 3s. As a reminder, if you chose the citrine, then this is your reading this week in regard to your hidden talents or gifts. Before we get into it, I do want to give you guys a bit of a disclaimer. So it's the next day from when I recorded the introduction. Hopefully the animals don't get too rowdy. If they do, I will pause the video. My obnoxious neighbors are blasting their music right now. I'm hoping that you can't hear much of it. I'm hoping, if anything, it may just sound like some thumping or like bass sounds in the background, but I really don't know for sure what it'll sound like. Hopefully it's not too bad though. If it gets to be really loud like it was maybe 5 or 10 minutes ago, I will stop the recording so that it doesn't mess too much with your reading. So as you guys can see here, what we have laid out is the tier, the crone, fertility, 3 of Wands, Strength, the Lovers, and the Knight of Pentacles. So we will go over all of this first, and then I have 2 separate oracle decks that we'll get into as well for your reading today. Hold on, let me just pull up my little synopsis here real quick and make sure that I've got where I need to be. Perfect. And then, like, you guys will recognize these 3 cards were actually from like the signifiers for the piles, so they were what were underneath the crystal when you selected that pile. I feel like there was something else that I needed to mention to you guys. Oh yes, I did also want to say that, like, as a reminder, this reading is going to look at potentially some like talents or gifts that you may already know about yourself. Ones that maybe you just like don't share with others or kind of like keep below the surface. And then this, I hope, will give you like a different perspective overall of like, you know, these are actually gifts or talents that you have that maybe you don't recognize them as such or you don't see them as such, but they are. Excuse me. So hopefully this will kind of like give you a little bit like of a boost of confidence, help gas you up a little bit, and allow you to see that you are very gifted and talented and unique. So let's go ahead and get into it, guys. So for you guys, like, the first thing that I noticed when I was laying out your cards is I feel like you guys are very deep. You don't like living at the surface level. You live in the deepest, darkest parts of who you and who others are. One of your biggest gifts is how deeply you feel and your ability to be vulnerable with others. You don't see tears or authenticity or vulnerability as being weak. Sorry about that, guys. I did have to pause your video briefly because there were some sirens that really picked up and got loud. So I did pause briefly. Let me see where I was here. You know firsthand how tough the world and society can be. You don't live your life for anyone but yourself, and you don't see the point in being inauthentic. You aren't afraid of people leaving once they see who you really are. You'd rather have them gone and be able to make room for those who will actually cherish you. Some of you may even have psychic gifts, and because of this, others may see you as like a sage with wisdom and advice to offer. I think you're very wise, and it doesn't matter how old you are right now. You give off like old soul vibes to people. There are things you just know or perspectives that you offer to get people thinking differently or seeing things from a different point of view. Regarding your psychic abilities, I get the feeling that you may not actually see spirits, but you're constantly receiving messages and synchronicities that you listen to. Again, you're very wise, and you know when spirit is providing you advice or help. You're not ashamed to take what you need, and you may often act as a channel for spirit when speaking with others or providing them with advice. Sorry, I just had to double check something there real quick. But what I was saying, I think that you guys are just like very wise beyond your years. I get the feeling that maybe you've always been like that. You were probably like a very precocious child, that people saw as a lot more like mature for your age. Now this can be good and bad. Like, hopefully it wasn't because someone parentified you and made you grow up faster than you needed to. But I get the sense that you've just always kind of given off like old soul vibes. Like, this isn't your first lifetime. You've learned a lot and have a lot of like acquired a lot of information. And you just have like a very knowledgeable, wise, perspective to offer to people. And so I feel like people often come to you for advice and they see you as like this wise old sage. And I'm not trying to knock you off like your pedestal and make you see yourself as less than that, because I definitely think that's how people see you. But I do think that sometimes it's because you are like this conduit or channel for spirit. And you just do a really good job of like relaying these messages that maybe spirit has for other people, or the universe has. Like, I say this very frequently about myself, that I feel like the universe speaks to me through other people, and you may be one of those people that I would come across where the universe would use you to speak to me. You know what I mean? And that sounds like that kind of comes off sounding weird, but I see like a lot of people as, you know, the universe's way of reaching me or talking to me and allowing me to see things from a different perspective, or to gain clarity on something. And I think that we all offer that to an extent to other people, but I think that you probably do more than you even realize. Let's see. I feel like with fertility and the 3 of Wands coming up here, you're extremely creative. And you constantly have ideas forming through your head for new projects or new things to create or go after and bring into fruition. Even though you have all of these ideas, I feel like you only act on those that inspire you and that you are passionate about. Your creativity and ability to decipher your ideas and what you actually want is definitely one of your gifts or talents, my group number 3s. I think another one of your gifts that coincides with this wisdom you have is your ability to see the gray. You don't see something as good or bad, right or wrong, black or white. You know that everything lives on a spectrum, and you don't feel the need to justify your actions or decisions because what's right for you may not be for someone else, and that's okay. That's life. That doesn't make them wrong, and it doesn't make you right. And you're okay with that, as with your ability to be super vulnerable. Excuse me. Sorry, my dog's like licking himself. Sir, can you stop? Can you not do that right now, please? Thank you. Let's see here. And you're okay with that, as with your ability to be super vulnerable. You're ultimately comfortable with like who you are. You like who you are, and you're proud of yourself for getting to the point that you're at now. So I think that for you, it's like just you recognize that just because you would choose something doesn't mean that somebody else would, and that doesn't make your decision right. That doesn't make their choice wrong. It just means that we all live life differently, and we all have different goals and things we want to accomplish, and we're all on a different path, right? And that's okay. Like, that's the beauty of life. And I think that you're so comfortable with that because you're so comfortable with who you are and being open and vulnerable. And you don't feel this need to like go with the crowd or go with what everybody else is doing just because like that's what society says you should do or what other people say you should do. You're like, no, that's not for me, and it is what it is, and it's fine. And like, for instance, so let's say you're like me and you know you don't want to have children, but everybody always tries to talk you into having kids or tell you that you're going to be missing out on something or tell you this, that, or whatever, but you know deep in your soul that having children is just something that you don't want to do. And there's nothing wrong with that, and you're okay with that, and you've accepted that, and you know people are still gonna try to tell you differently, but you're always just like, whatever, like that's not for me, sorry, don't care. But you also don't judge other people for having kids. You understand that that's their life, that's their path, and what they do has nothing to do with you, and it doesn't affect you truly. So you're just like, cool, do whatever makes you happy, but that doesn't work for me. Let's see here. Finally, I feel like you have the gift of patience, my group number 3s. Can you share some of that with me? Like, seriously? You don't care how long it takes for you to accomplish something or for your ideas to come to fruition. You appreciate the journey and all that you learn about something and yourself along the way. You don't mind taking baby steps. You know that a step towards something is always a step in the right direction. No need to rush anything for you. I'm gonna pause the video briefly, you guys, and hopefully the noise downstairs will calm down a little bit. I'm gonna like listen back to this footage and make sure that it didn't mess too much with your audio. So I'll be right back. Okay, you guys, I'm back now. Sorry about that. I just wanted to make sure that the music downstairs wasn't like really impacting the audio. It doesn't seem like it was. And I've moved my mic even a little bit closer to me now, so sorry if my voice sounds really loud, but I'm hoping that that'll help drown out any other like background noise for us. Anyway, where I left off, I am done with like these cards here, so I do want to go ahead and get into the oracle cards for you guys now. But as I had mentioned, I think that you guys really have the patience of an earth sign, like in the best possible way, especially with the Knight of Pentacles coming up here. I think that you guys are really good at being patient. You wait until the right time to strike for things, and you just know that like good things take time, and you're okay with waiting it out because you know that you'll get what you want eventually. But, you know, again, sometimes good things really do take time, and we can't rush time, right? We can't expect everything to fall into our timeline. And I think that really plays into your guys' like wisdom that you have, because you just know that things will eventually work out for me as long as I keep pushing and like keep doing what I need to do on my part, and they will work out. Okay, let's see if we can get any other information about your talents, gifts, anything like that. Okay, we'll shuffle once more. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut here. Okay, so you guys have the crumbling. What are you clinging on to? And you guys also have protection. Call back your power, cut the cords, soul retrieval. Ooh. Okay. So, I'm sorry, it's just like so noisy today. It's like everything, everywhere. I hope that that's really not interfering too much with your audio. So, with the crumbling coming out here, I'm really seeing this as like pointing to, again, your guys' ability to be vulnerable. You know, you have torn down these walls and these structures that were in place for yourself that kept you tucked away, kept the real you hidden. And I think that it really speaks to your ability, again, to go against like go against the grain, go against like what society is telling you to do, because I think society doesn't want us to be open and vulnerable with each other, especially like men. If you were a man watching this reading, I think that you've done a very good job of going against what society deems to be normal for like a heterosexual male. And that's not to say you have to be heterosexual, but you know, with heterosexual men, it's like pulling teeth just to get them to cry, to get them to open up, and to get them to be authentic and to be their true selves, because they're told that everything that they do basically like in having feelings is wrong. And I think that the crumbling, again, is really like you let go of of needing those things, of needing that wall, quote unquote, to protect you, of, you know, abiding by everything that society wanted for you and told you to do. Because again, as I had mentioned, I think one of your biggest gifts is your ability to do what works best for you, right? And to not care that other people may see that as problematic, because for you it's like, if it's not working for me, if it's not serving me, I don't need to have it around. I don't care to have it around. I don't care to go after it if it doesn't align with me and make me like the best version of myself. So I really see that as pointing to, again, that authenticity and openness that you really do have, that is a gift of yours. With the protection, I think that one thing Spirit is really bringing up here, and I think that you, for the most part, are probably already very good at this, but just making sure that you don't allow other people to drain you of your energy, of your life force, because some people can be complete like energy sucks. And I think that because you're so wise and you have so much, my goodness, it is so loud out there. I'm so sorry. I'm just going to give it a second here and see if it calms down. I'm sorry, you guys. I really thought it would be relatively quiet on a Monday in the afternoon, but apparently not. And now my dog is up drinking water. I'm going to get a drink of water real quick and just leave it at that, and then I will come back to that card. Okay. All right, now my cat's eating. I'm gonna pause. I'll be right back. All right, you guys, I'm sorry about that. There was just like so much noise happening all at once. It's like I get like a second of it not being super noisy when I pause, and then when I come back, the noise starts up again. So hopefully we can finish this without there being a lot of extra noise. I'm so sorry. But as I was saying here about protection, call back your power, cut the cord, soul retrieval, I really think for you, this just has like, it's kind of like a message from Spirit about not overextending yourself and giving people too much of your energy and time, especially for people that like our energy sucks or are just kind of like using your energy. So an example that's coming to mind is, as I had mentioned, I feel like you guys are very wise. You have that like sage energy, right? People come to you for advice and you give it away, and you give it away like freely and willingly because you like to help other people. Let's say you have this friend though that keeps on coming to you for advice from or about her boyfriend, and you're telling her like over and over again what she needs to do, that he's not a good person, that she needs to leave him, right? And this is just like one example that's coming to mind, but maybe you need to like stop giving her advice. Maybe you need to like cut back the time that you spend with this person, because I think for you, it becomes difficult to continue to give advice to people that don't want to take it. And that's fair, right? We're extending all of this energy and like putting our life force into this, right? When we really don't need to, if they're just going to continue to do the same thing and not take our advice. So that's just one thing that's coming to mind. But yeah, not allowing yourself to get sucked up into other people's problems and into like their negativity even. If it's something that, you know, you've tried to help them with a couple times and they just don't want to listen to you, that's fine. They don't have to. But don't allow your energy to be drained by those people is kind of what I'm hearing coming through. Okay, so last deck here. Let's see if we can get through this. Again, I really apologize, guys. I don't know why it's so noisy today. And so obnoxious here, but like, my God, I can deal with my animals, you know? It was just like one extra thing on top of the noise that's going on below me and outside. But it's just ridiculous. It's like, I'm off today, you know, this is my off day. I feel like my neighbor's off day is every day, so that must be nice also. It's, I don't know. Maybe they work from home too. I don't know, but anyway. let's shuffle once more. And as I forgot to mention to you guys too, this is the Sacred Self-Care Oracle deck. So really what I'm trying to get from these cards for you is either, you know, how can you use these gifts and talents more like in the world? How can you use them to provide yourself self-care? You know, how can you work on better honing these talents and gifts that you have so that you are able to utilize them and share them. And I want to say, because I don't think I said this for your guys' pile, by no means do you have to like monetize your gifts and talents, right? You don't have to go out there and try to like build a career off of these things, but I do think it's important for us to share our gifts and talents that we have, because they're what make us special and unique, and they allow other people to like see those things as gifts and talents within themselves too. And ultimately, I feel like we have these things because we are supposed to share them and use them to make the world a better place. So, let's see here. I think I'm just going to do one more shuffle. Oops, I didn't want that too many cards. Just 2 would be the most ideal for you guys. So I'm just going to shuffle these once more. And now my Frenchie's up walking around, you know, doing all his normal stuff, his breathing that you can hear, and, you know, Frenchie noises. Okay. Let's shuffle. We shuffled that. Let's go ahead and just get your guys' cards. Okay. So you have Dream Journal. And we also have Create Art. I love that for you guys. Okay. Move that up just a bit. Perfect. So, Dream Journal, you know, I think that's really interesting that that's coming up. And I think that really what's being said here is, I think that you guys probably have pretty vivid dreams, or when you do, there's probably a lot of different things in there that are messages that are kind of being sent to you, especially if you do have like some level of psychic ability. Maybe you receive messages or synchronicities in your dreams. So maybe start paying attention to those more, and dream journaling can really help with that when we actually wake up and we write down like key things that we've noticed or heard or seen in our dreams. And I think it'd be interesting for you to do that. Maybe look more into like the symbolism of different things that come up in your dreams, and then, you know, see how that affects your day-to-day reality and plays out for you when you're seeing those things. Maybe you can like see patterns as well of like different issues that your brain is trying to work through while you're sleeping, different things maybe you need to address. So I think that's why that's probably coming up for you. And then with Create Art, I kind of get a similar vibe in a way. I think that for those of you that are artistic, because I don't think that necessarily all of you are, but those of you that are artistic, you know, that could be your way of pulling out these like communications or synchronicities or things that happen in your day-to-day life or your dreams, and drawing them out, or creating something that reflects like those things that happened in your dreams or in your day-to-day, or again like these synchronicities or messages that you are receiving, for you to like better visualize and understand them, because sometimes it helps to have like a visual or something about how, you know, what we saw or heard made us feel even. But I think that that could be very helpful for some of you guys, even like recreating certain like imagery or scenes from your dreams, to kind of help you better process and work through whatever it is that you're needing to. I think that that would be helpful for you. Also, you know, with us taking the time to create art, it really does allow us that time to slow down and to, like I had mentioned that I think that you guys do have like creative abilities. Like I said, I don't think that all of you are, you know, master artists or anything by any means, but I think that it's helpful to be able to do these things as well, to allow us to like ground and be more vulnerable and open with who we are, as well as like this is something that when we have hobbies or other things that we do in our day-to-day life, it can allow us to be more patient, and it can allow us to, you know, be more open to just allowing things to unfold as they need to when it comes to us, like, you know, wanting to bring something into fruition from our from our mind into reality, right? So yeah, I think that that's really why this is coming through for you guys in this reading, both of these cards. Anyway, though, I think that I'm gonna leave your reading here. I really apologize for all the noise in the background, guys. I'm so sorry. I really am going to like listen back to your audio though carefully and make sure that it doesn't affect, sorry, my cat's trying to get up here and I don't want her to hurt herself in the fire of, well, there's really not any flame left in the candle, but I just don't want her to knock the hot wax over either. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I feel like this was all over the place and I'm really sorry for that, but I hope that you got like the gist and that you're really able to see just how like gifted and talented and like unique you really are, and all of the different things about you that are gifts that maybe you don't realize that. And I hope that you start to utilize those and use them more in your day-to-day life. And yeah, I think that that's really a part of like your authenticity as well, as you openly sharing those things with people when you're able to. So anyway, if this resonated for you, please leave me a comment down below. Please give this video a thumbs up so that this message can reach as many other people as possible. Again, I'm so sorry for all of the stoppage and the noise. I'm really hoping that it didn't affect the audio too much and that it didn't affect your reading too much. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't already, please do subscribe to my channel. I put out new pick a card readings or new like tarot collective readings once a week, and they're usually not this chaotic, I promise. But anyway, thank you again for joining me. I love you guys so much. Hoping all the best for you, and I hope to see you in a future reading. Bye.